everyone, it's Tracy. Welcome back. So today I am doing a page for the collective series that I'm doing with Shannon and Kathy and some of the other girls. And I am I'm trying to use up anyway, the box that I got from Pink Fresh. And in that box, there was a lot of A Case of the Blahs. And to be honest, this particular collection doesn't really speak to me. They're pretty bland colors, but sometimes in life, we have things happen to us that aren't very happy. And I think that we need to scrap those moments as well. And that's what these photos are about. This background paper it has some geometric signs all over it. And I wanted to have it pop on some cardstock. Now I am trying to get through, my papers, and I don't use color cardstock that much, but I had a friend that had given me a whole bunch of color cardstock, which is perfect for a mat behind the 12 by 12. And I chose this uh, dark green, like a forest green. I thought it worked perfect. It was a nice, instead of black, I could have done black, but let me just go ahead and use up, the color cardstock uh, while I can. So that's why I chose that. Excuse me. Now, the photos are of my hand. I had a bad stretch back in November and December last year. And if you were watching my channel back then, you saw that, my hand, one time my hand was swollen because I got bit by a cat, not my cat. And so I had to get, antibiotics for that. It was swollen, and that was on my right hand. And then on my left hand, not that much later, I burned myself, and it had to do with some coffee. And it was at work, and I had put some water in a Keurig. It was one of those mini Keurig that I've never used it before. So I put the water in, and I must have overfilled it somehow. And I put my cup underneath for the water to start draining into. And when it was like spilling over, I went to go grab it. And when I did, it just spilled all over my hand, and I ended up with second-degree burn. So it was very painful. And the funny thing is, and I never thought of that, but it was a workman's comp thing because it happened at work. So yeah. So that's kind of how that went. So I am going to scrap this memory, even though it's not a positive memory, but it's, something that happened. And I'm using a sketch. Now, I do like to use a sketch whenever I can. And I just went on Pinterest and kind of looked for one that had 3 photos on it. And that's how I chose the one that I have, the one that I'm using. And but then trying to find the papers that went with that geometric background that was pleasing to my eye was a little bit harder because I couldn't find it in the Case of the Blahs 6x6 pad. But I went to the BU 6x6 pad, and I pulled those 2 papers. I like the green gingham. Thought that looked really nice. And those are 3x4. Now, part of the sketch, there was a element that had some straight lines, at the bottom, and I didn't really have anything in mind. So I thought, well, I'll just go through my washi, and I pulled out a black and then this peachy color, kind of an orangey color. And those colors are represented in the geometric print that's on the background paper. Now, when I did go through the embellishments, I found it kind of funny that I found that green circle that had the coffee mug on it. I thought, oh, no, that's appropriate. But then in the sketch, it had those other circle elements. In fact, it had 8, and I'm just not going to be able to fit 8 on here. And it's good because I really couldn't find 8 things that would go up there, as part of the embellishments. So I'm only going to be using 6. And the one that is above at the top, that is a speech bubble, it says Nope, Nope. And then at the bottom in the middle, the uh, citrus green or citron green, it says Blah. So now I'm looking for some paper to do some journaling. And I pulled this out. This is from Case of the Blahs. And, I'm just going to think about it. I'm not real sure. So I'm going to work on my title instead. It's going to be really simple. It's going to be The Burn. And these Alpha came with Case of the Blahs. I have used them before. It is not my favorite font that I've ever used. But it works for here with only, one small word, it works. But if you're going to do a big title, I find it challenging to use it for a long title. Well, I'm not digging that blue-gray square for the journaling, so I'm going to choose this other from the BU 6x6 pad. It's kind of white with black lines and dots. And from this perspective, you can't really see it, but there it's pretty it's a little difficult to read it, which is fine because this is not something that I would want someone just to casually read. I mean, if you really wanted to read it, if you're going through my album, you would have to focus on it, which is, I guess the point, because this isn't one of the highlights of my life, but it is something that truly did happen. Yeah, burns are bad. They hurt. And then then I was the joke of the office about, "Oh, Tracy, if you ever need to make coffee, you make sure you ask me first." I'm like, "Oh, believe me, I'm not touching that machine again." So, yeah, I bring my own coffee. Oh God, it was really bad. So everyone, please be careful with coffee. Especially the Keurig, those machines, that water is hot, hotter than hot. Wow. Well, as you see here, I wanted to put a little mat behind my journaling square, but I didn't have enough, and I didn't want to cut into a new piece of paper. So this is my way of trimming down paper and making it fit. And because it's kind of you can't even tell that I had pieced this all together. So I've done this several times. And that way you can use up your scraps. I don't add sequins to it, and I don't add any splatters. This is a very basic page. And here's the close-ups, guys. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you check out the other ladies' pages. Alrighty, bye-bye.